Welcome to Incredible Tea. You're with your hostess, Cocoa Puffs. Now, this is a brand new channel, so make sure you subscribe and like my video. Yes, so we are back to talk about P-Valley Season 3, Episode 4, you guys. I have to say, each episode keeps getting better and better. And you guys, YouTube was feeling some type of ways and they deleted my whole channel. So you guys tune in. This is my brand new channel, still the same name, but yeah, just stay tuned. Anyways, so this episode starts off with this lady kicking it hard at the club. I mean, she is spending all of her money and she's enjoying her VIP dance with Toy. Now, for some odd reason, Toy decides to take off this lady's mask, okay? So she starts dancing in front of her and she's getting her groove on. And then she accidentally sneezes right in this woman's face in her mouth, okay? So this woman loses it. She immediately goes to Uncle Clifford and she informs them that she is actually a city inspector, okay? Not only has she been sneezed on, but she has noticed that nobody in the club is compliant. Nobody has their mask on. And she's telling them, you know what? All of you guys, get ready to get out of here because I am shutting this down immediately. So, to make things even worse, the city inspector goes to the back and she cites them for a series of code violations. So she told them that they needed to fix all these issues within 24 hours or be at risk of receiving an $11,000 fine. So Roulette gets upset with Toy and says, dang girl, you messed up our bag. And so Brazil defends Toy, but in the process, she also puts Roulette on blast and say, while you getting smart, I'm hearing that you prostituting here at the Pink. So, Roulette was not going for this, and then you guys, they end up fighting, and ultimately Roulette beat up Brazil. She bust her mouth, and yeah, Brazil was bleeding. So if you guys think this episode is lit already, drop a comment. So basically, Uncle Clifford and Big L get Roulette off of Brazil, and then Big L has a side conversation with Roulette. He tells her that she shouldn't burn herself out. He knows that she's prostituting. She knows that he's dealing drugs. And basically, he just tries to give her some free game. But I wouldn't be surprised if later on he tries to be her pimp. So then it goes to the next scene where Mercedes is chilling at the house, and then she gets a text that comes in from her sugar daddy. Now, unbeknownst to her, it wasn't even the sugar daddy that texted her. It was the wife. Okay, let's be clear. So Mercedes comes in, takes off her clothes, and boom, there's the wife. And of course, she starts throwing a little shade. So she's having a phone conversation with her husband. Mercedes is like, okay, it's cool. So she goes straight to the stripper pole and she starts to get in her vibe. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to make her jealous. I am going to entice her. It doesn't matter. So this weirdo, she starts to pull out a camera, starts taking photos of Mercedes because, she's a photographer. And she is intrigued by Mercedes. Like, she doesn't want to like Mercedes, but she does. And so Mercedes tells her, hey, I could teach you how to dance. And it went from there to the wife, then making a pass at Mercedes, and then the next thing you know, they are bumping and grinding. Can you believe it? Yes. So Mercedes must have enjoyed her own experience because she wakes up to a boatload of text messages and then she realizes that the Pink is in trouble. So she knows that they need as much help as possible. So she hurries up and tries to go at the club. But then she sees the cash that was left by the wife and she realizes that, yeah, she just got treated like a whole prostitute. So you guys, Keyshawn is glowing up, okay? So now she is advertising her own lashes and her manager is definitely trying to get her geared for success. She invites her friend Gidget who comes out and celebrates with her. She's feeling the whole vibe, but she does notice that the photo does look lighter than her own natural skin complexion, so she isn't happy about that. Meanwhile, Lil Murder is out with the crew and he's trying to figure out why he doesn't have a product that he's advertising. And while they're, outside, they're listening to all the riots and things that are going on. And while they are also in the car, they hear the producer the Little Murder works with on the radio. So immediately Little Murder's mind and will start to turn. But the whole time his friend Tweek is acting weird, okay? So later Tweek comes to Little Murder's bedroom, and they start to get in conversation, and Tweek starts to have a breakdown, and he allows Little Murder to embrace him. And he tells Little Murder that he just wants to see him happy and successful. And from there, they embraced, you guys. Yes. Like, so now I thought Little Murder loved Uncle Clifford, but clearly he is cheating on Uncle Clifford. And then Tweek just makes me feel like this whole time he's been acting crazy because secretly he's just been lusting for Little Murder. You guys, I don't think that Little Murder knew that Teak was a homosexual. So, I think everything happened so fast. And I know that eventually Little Murder is probably going to regret messing with Teak because I think Teak is crazy. So now with Haley and her situation, it's almost as if there's this negative energy that's surrounding her in the club based upon the fact that, her baby daddy was killed there at the Pink. Now, she's living there and nobody knows about it. So while she's there, Corbin stops by and he basically wants to offer her $1 million again to sell the club. And again, she tells Corbin, hey, I am not interested. Buzz off. And so Corbin is standing there looking dumb after he realizes that they're just not going to settle for less. And then in the meantime, Andre decides to go back home early. And when he does, he finds a terrible surprise. So immediately he must have felt something was wrong because he rushed upstairs as quickly as he could and he found his wife sucking off the doctor. Okay, so one of her fellow colleague workers. Okay, so he was naked and Andre beat him up. He choked him out, almost killed him. And, his wife was standing there screaming hysterically. And, you could just see the anger and the rage in Andre's eyes. Like he was ready to go to jail. And then meantime, he tells her that, hey, I'm going to run for mayor. You guys, so basically she busts out laughing at him. And so that really hurt his feelings because he's like, dang, it's one thing you cheating on me, but then I tell you I'm trying to pursue, a career as mayor and leave off where my uncle left and you can't support me on that either. So basically Andre takes off, and I feel like him and Haley are going to end up hooking up. Because guess where Andre goes to next? Yes, he ends up back with Haley. Like for some reason, he keeps being drawn back to her. And he basically tells her that he's going to run to be mayor. And, Haley's wheels are turning and she's telling him that, hey, this is going to benefit both of us. I've been trying to sell the Pink for a while. And, so far, all I've been able to get is $1 million, for an offer. And I'm trying to get 10. So Uncle Clifford and Mercedes are listening to all of this and they realize that Haley from the very beginning has been doing nothing but waiting and biding her time for her to sell the Pink. And she has not had a conversation with anybody at the Pink. So she's just taking it upon herself now to have total control of the club. Now, even Andre calls her cold-blooded and says, dang, you've been planning this whole time? So, they start vibing, and then the next thing you know, they are about to get ready to kiss until Uncle Clifford and Mercedes storms in to let Haley know exactly how they feel about her and her treachery. Now, when Uncle Clifford starts to go off, this attracts a lot of attention. So now there are people coming outside of the club and they're trying to tune in to what's going on. Now, Haley's whole attitude is very nonchalant, narcissistic, and it's just selfish. Like, she basically says, hey, you girls got to go ahead and find something else to do like I did. So it's like, Haley, how can you decide who someone else's turning point is going to be or when it's going to be? Like, she forgot where she came from. And Uncle Clifford reminds her to say, hey, how did you even get in a position to be able to buy this club? It came from the opportunity you had here. So how dare you turn around and try to sell this club as if it belongs to you and you act like you don't owe the club back? Now, this is very ironic because Uncle Clifford busts Haley out by saying this girl is sleeping at the club. So it's like, hold on, how you trying to sell the club when you living at the club You trying to sell where you stay at right now and you don't have a place to go? Like, Haley is giving a hot mess right now. Like, drop a comment, you guys. I know it's so much going on. So the next morning rolls around, and unfortunately they did not get everything together like they needed to in order for them to pass the inspection. So because of that, now the health inspector is issuing them the $11,000 fine she warned them about. And so Uncle Clifford at this point is over it, and he's like, you know what, give Haley that bill. You feel me? And so they're looking at Haley, and Haley is definitely blue. Then it shoots to a scene of Lil Murda waking up, and he realizes that he crossed the line with his friend because Teak is basically in the window like a weirdo asking him about Clifford because he found the postcard that Lil Murda had written to him, and he feels some type of way because he says, hey, you never written me when I was in jail. And so he walks off, and now Lil Murda is basically feeling a sense of guilt. I know he's feeling a little bit of confusion. And then after that, it shoots to Andre. Now, Andre goes back to his uncle's house only to find that everybody is moving out of his uncle's house, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. Well, he gets confronted by his cousin who says, hey, I don't know what you did to tell my dad to get him to give you this crib, but I hope you don't get nothing but bad luck. So basically now Andre realizes that his uncle has given him his own home. Now, Andre cannot believe this, and it's crazy, you guys, because like everything is falling in place for him. So he immediately jumps on the phone to call Corbin because Corbin said that he would back him up financially if he did want to run for mayor. So now it seems like Andre is in the race. Yes, and I am happy for Andre. And I'm gonna keep it real, you guys. I don't know, for some reason I get this weird vibe between him and his uncle when he was alive. It's got me wondering if his uncle is really his father. You know what I mean? Then it shoots back to Lil Murda's crew, and everybody's just in the car miserable, and Lil Murda gets a text from Uncle Clifford, but he decides to ignore his text message, I think only because he knows Teak is crazy and that he's watching him like a hawk. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for joining me here at Incredible Tea. You're with your hostess, Cocoa Puffs.